You've probably heard it everywhere lately. Literally, everyone is throwing around the phrase vibe coding. We're talking developers, non-developers, even folks who have absolutely never opened a terminal in their lives. But here's the thing, almost all of them are using it completely wrong. So in this explainer, we're going to clear that up once and for all. Because look, if you don't understand what actual vibe coding is, you're setting yourself up to make some pretty major decisions that you're probably going to regret down the line. Okay, so let's go back to where this all started. The term actually came from Andre Karpathy back in early 2025. And when he said it, he was describing a very, very specific workflow. You ask an AI to build something, and then you do not read the code. You don't review it, you just trust the output and move right along. His exact words were, forget that the code even exists. Now that is pure vibe coding. It's a specific concrete thing. It's not just some general hand-wavy attitude toward using AI. Honestly, most people who claim they're vibe coding right now, they're really not. If you're using tools like Cursor or Copilot or Claude Code and you're reviewing the changes as you go, well, that's AI-assisted development. It's a completely different thing and it sits on a completely different part of the spectrum. And trust me, that spectrum really matters. Think about it kind of like driving a car. On one extreme end of the spectrum, you're chilling in the passenger seat, the AI is driving, and you're just looking out the window, enjoying the scenery. If something goes wrong, you have absolutely no idea how the car works. And you definitely don't know where the cliff is. You just type a prompt, accept whatever spits back out, and if it runs, you ship it. That's pure vibe coding. But on the other end, you're firmly behind the wheel. The AI is basically your GPS. It's just directions, sure, but your hands are on the wheel and you can override it at any second. You actually know the route. That's AI-assisted development. You're reviewing changes, running tests, and most importantly, you could explain any of those decisions to someone else. But of course, most of our real day-to-day work happens somewhere in the middle of those two extremes. Writing a quick throwaway script, yeah, the passenger seat is probably totally fine. Building a simple landing page, maybe you sit somewhere in the middle. But writing your company's core login system, oh yeah, your hands had better be glued to that wheel. See, this isn't really a technical debate, it's just straight up risk management. You have to match your seat to the stakes of the project. Section 1, the hidden risks, or what the tutorials completely skip over. Let's talk about the first major trap, which we'll call the comprehension wall. When an AI generates code for you and you never actually bother to read it, you effectively own code that you literally cannot debug. It's exactly like hiring a contractor to build a wall in your house, but you just sit on the couch and watch TV the whole time. A few months later, when that wall starts leaking water everywhere, you have zero idea how it was put together. It's the exact same thing with code. If the AI gets stuck on a nasty bug down the road, you are going to hit a brick wall. Then there's the productivity illusion. Look, vibe coding feels incredibly fast, right? In fact, one fascinating study found that developers genuinely believed they were working about 20% faster when using these AI tools. But when that same study actually measured their real-world speed, they were actually 19% slower. Crazy, right? The time you supposedly saved by not writing the code is entirely lost later on when you have to debug something you never understood in the first place. And we definitely can't ignore the security blind spot. Code you didn't review is code you didn't check for secrets. It's how API keys, passwords, and private tokens end up floating around in places they absolutely shouldn't be. In fact, research shows that AI-assisted code can have nearly 3 times the amount of security vulnerabilities compared to code that a human developer actually sat down and reviewed. 3 times. Finally, there's the surprise of unexpected costs. You might have code that mostly works, but it's secretly making a ridiculous number of excessive requests to external services in the background. People have literally racked up thousands of dollars in API charges just because their code was quietly doing things they never noticed. But hey, here's the good news. Notice how almost all of these risks only really apply to that passenger seat version of coding. If you take a more responsible approach, you handle most of these right out of the gate. Section 2. The responsible playbook. Living in the middle of the spectrum. So, what exactly does this responsible version look like? Well, as we've said, it's right in the middle of that spectrum. You're using AI to move fast, absolutely. But you're always verifying the outcome from the outside. You're taking the time to review the stuff that actually matters. You know exactly which parts are safe to hand off and which parts you absolutely must double check yourself. Actually, there's a fantastic rule of thumb from the developer community that hits the nail on the head here. Do not commit any code you could not explain to someone else. Honestly, that's it. That is the line in the sand. The speed that AI gives you is totally real and it's genuinely useful. But the trap is overconfidence. It's so easy to think, oh, the AI handled the whole shebang, so you ship it. And then 3 weeks later, the whole system crashes in a way you can't even begin to diagnose because it's buried in code you never bothered to read. Remember, vibe coding isn't just a trendy synonym for using AI. It's just one specific point on a spectrum. It's a useful point for sure in the right context. But the version that's actually worth mastering, it's the navigator model. It keeps you securely in the driver's seat. It uses the AI as your trusty navigator, and it always verifies the outcome instead of just blindly trusting it. So I want you to think about this for a second. What does your current setup actually look like? Are you firmly in the driver's seat, or have you quietly slid over to the passenger side without even realizing it?